Hey everyone, welcome to the Pickleball. Oh man, it's getting worse and worse.
I love these bloopers though.
It's always the first two words.
It is.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Pickleball Effect podcast. This is episode 83. I'm your host Braydon.
And I'm Kyle.
Kyle, summer's here. We're playing outside more. It's hot. It feels good. Kids are out of school.
Kids are out of school.
You doing okay with that?
Oh yeah, man. We're going to. We went to Wahoo's yesterday. Taking them paddleboarding probably today or tomorrow. I
saw you paddleboarding.
Yeah,
You taking the kids out?
I got them vests and stuff, and then I took it out by myself to make sure I was good with it, all the equipment. So then I'm gonna take them paddleboarding. They love the water, so it'll be good.
Do you think they'll be able to do it themselves, or are you gonna be standing on there with them?
They're gonna be on my paddleboard.
Okay,
and then we'll just go out to the middle and I'll throw them in the lake.
Paddleboarding, I've never gotten a knack for it. It's surprisingly difficult to keep your balance. You got to be an elite athlete.
You have
like yourself.
You have to have a little bit of core, a little core strength.
Maybe that's my problem.
But I've been on a board my entire life, skateboarding, snowboarding, whatever. So you got a good feel for that. Yeah.
Yeah. For our weekly update, talking about trip to China, some Selkirk stuff, some local play we did this week. 3.50 is mine this week. Kyle's Corner, Paddle, Babble, and Gear. We're going to talk about, I always just kind of jump over Kyle's Corner, but you're going to talk about the UPA paddle testing.
The tester going missing.
I actually don't know the details of this.
Okay. Well, I mainly want to talk about some of the funny theories that were going on the internet.
Okay. Then you got a hot topic on here about events. For Paddle, Babble, and Gear, I'm going to talk about new main. I got a new main. I'm switching. I'm moving away from the carbon.
I don't even know what it is.
It's been... Yeah, you'd be able to guess. If you've been listening to the last 2-3 pods, you'd be able to guess.
It was my main until I let somebody borrow it and they haven't given it back.
That happens. I've had some people hold on to paddles for months.
Oh, so local pro asked me like, "Hey, I need a UPA paddle. Let me borrow a couple," and I let her borrow two, and that's the one. She's like, "I love it." And then crickets, haven't heard from her since.
The worst story I've ever had in regards to that was this local gal. She wanted a new paddle. She probably demoed 6-7 paddles.
Okay.
She lives pretty close, but I went over her house. I dropped them off. I was really helpful throughout the whole process.
Oh no.
And she finally picks one. She's like, "Oh, this was great. Thank you. I went and bought it from this place because they didn't have the color, didn't use your code." And I mean, it was like $10, $15. I don't really care about the money, but the principle of it just crushed me. I was like, "Are you kidding me? I helped you so much. It took me, I did not have to do any of this."
Oh, that hurts.
You could at least have the courtesy.
That hurts. I had something similar happen at Flying Pickle. Somebody was demoing, I don't remember what paddle it was. Say it was a Lux, and I was just discussing it with them, hitting back and forth. Whatever. She, "Oh man, I love this." And she's like, "I'm gonna buy it on Amazon."
Yes, exactly.
Just like,
same situation.
I mean, I don't get mad, whatever, but it's just like, ouch.
Yeah, this one in particular, it sounds like it was in your face. Yeah. You helped them out so much, and it doesn't even cross their mind. Anyways, and then I did another experiment on Power and Pop to get a sense of how much more powerful it gets as you add weight, to see if it was similar to the Franklin or different. So I did it with a bread and butter filth standard, and the numbers are a little bit different. So it'll be fun. We'll talk about those. So that'll be Paddle, Babble, and Gear, and then we'll finish with the paddle fitting of the week. So this episode is brought to you by Pickleball Central, your one-stop shop for everything pickleball. They've got a massive inventory, 30-day paddle return policy, a best price guarantee, and a solid rewards program. Use the link in the description to get up to 10% off most items, including paddles, balls, shoes. All purchases help support the show too, so it's a win-win. Click the link, save some money, and gear up for your next match there. Weekly update. So yeah, headed to China this week. We're recording on Monday. We publish this on Tuesdays. I'm flying out Tuesday morning.
Okay.
So when this publishes, I will be on a plane. I think I'm going to Seattle, where I'm meeting up with my wife. So
nice.
My wife is in Washington right now. She's dropping the kids off to grandparents. They're going to hang out there for the week. We're meeting up in Seattle, then going to Vancouver. And then we have the 13-hour flight to Hong Kong.
Nice.
I've never done anything like this. I know you've traveled
tons.
Yeah. You gave me the tip that get up and walk. It's 13 hours. Don't just sit down. You said something about socks.
Yeah, some compression socks, walk. Make sure you bring some headphones just in case they don't. I have been on a flight where they ran out of the headphones. So if you have some wired headphones, bring them so you can watch movies and stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to take my Bose. They have a wire.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I've gotten on one where they ran out of headphones, and then I'm like, I got to sit for 13 hours.
What a horrible thing to run out of on a 13-hour flight.
I was so
What did
sad.
you do?
I don't even remember. I had my Nintendo Switch or something, and I'm actually really good at sleeping on airplanes too. So I'll just like sleep like 3 to 4 hour stints. Usually wake up when they like bring food and then eat, then fall back asleep.
Yeah, I don't think I'll have any issues sleeping. Any tips with sleeping? I know I'm jumping a full day ahead. Time's gonna be wacky. Do you try to play that game with the time zones, or you just
I never did. I just let it go. I know one time I took an Ambien, and that was actually a bad idea. I woke up and felt like I had like a hangover. Like somebody hit me with a sledgehammer in the back of the head, and I was like, not doing that again.
Yeah.
So I would just go with the flow. No matter what, it's going to be rough that first day or two when you get there, adjusting to the time difference. But
yeah, it's going to be particularly rough because I get in. Let's see here, flying out Tuesday. I get in Wednesday night at 7:30. I'm going to take a train over from Hong Kong to China that night. Get to the hotel. So it'll be late by the time I get to bed. I don't know what actual time that'll be for me, but it'll be late. And then we're starting early that next morning. And I just know it's going to be rough, dude. No matter the scenario there, I don't think I can win. It doesn't matter how well I played that sleep game. That first day is going to be terrible. And unfortunately, that's going to be the bulk of the tour and of all the stuff we're doing. I wish I'd gone a day earlier. A lot of the guys are leaving today.
Yep. To kind of adjust before. I always try to get places, especially with long distance, like a day early.
Yeah, I think that was the play.
The food's that one. I'm jealous. The food's gonna be good.
Food will be fun.
Yeah,
that'll be fun. My wife is big into that scene. She's been looking that up and getting a feel for it. But yeah, so my wife's gonna be there, and my parents.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my mom and dad are
awesome.
going. I call my dad. If he's listening to this he'll laugh, but he's just one of those guys. I'm like, I'm going to China. He's like, oh, can I come?
Is he working an angle for his business wise there?
I'm sure. I'm sure he
love
is.
it.
But he, I mean, I want them to come because he's really good at traveling. Very just out there. Go get. You've met my dad.
Oh yeah, your dad's great.
Yeah. So I couldn't think of a better person to travel with internationally like this, and he's traveled a ton. He'll be great. I'm glad he's coming. But he invites himself, and then ever since then he's like, "Oh man, I'm so glad you guys are inviting us. You guys are great." Like it's just very,
I love it.
Just peak salesman, you know.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. No, he would be fun to travel with. I bet he'd be a good time.
No, he's the best to travel with. I'm really glad they're coming, and yeah, so we're gonna just do the factory for a couple of days, then we're gonna head north, and we're gonna stay in southern China. But there's a really man, I don't know all the names of the places. I'm a little bit of a what do they call it? The passenger princess on this trip bit.
You guys gonna go see the Great Wall or any like big touristy spots?
That we'd have to fly to go do that, and we decided not to. We're just gonna take trains. The place we're going a couple hours north on a train. Gonna stay there for a couple of days, and then going back to Hong Kong for the last day. But my parents and my wife are gonna hang out in Hong Kong.
Oh, fun!
They're gonna do Disneyland. I guess there's a small Disneyland in Hong Kong.
Sweet.
One day and just chill there while I do factory stuff, and then we're gonna meet up. But no, that'll be fun. But you know, content wise for that, I've been thinking through. What are we gonna do different? How am I gonna make something that's more appealing? Because every brand interview I've done, this last Selkirk video I did, that I thought was like Aaron just crushed the edit.
Yeah.
It was really cool. I thought it was this really interesting thing of getting behind the scenes of one of the biggest companies in pickleball, seeing what it is and how they operate and all their like. I just thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
But that video did not perform well.
I saw that.
Got hardly any action. I gave it a little like promo boost just to get some more eyes on it because I thought it was so good. But that type of content in general, just doesn't perform great.
It's funny because I pay attention to your numbers on your videos, and like you and Justin having a conversation about foam crushed the Selkirk interview.
Oh, like 3x it. Yeah.
Pickleball's interesting.
We put so much, we try to make that Selkirk one different rather than doing just an hour-long interview with the Selkirk owners because that hasn't performed well in the past. Like when I did an interview with the CEO of Yola, which is cool, but that didn't get much traction. So we wanted to create something that was different, that moved quicker. So we did an hour-long video with them, but we ended up just bringing it down to 9 minutes, took a couple of clips from the interview, and then just showcased everything and kind of just shared my opinion, right? And I was like, okay, maybe this is the format, kind of a Brian Lim style, but Braydon style, Braydon flavor. And I don't know. So like, what do I do differently with this trip so that it doesn't turn into one of those flops, or maybe not flops, but less engaging videos, you know?
Maybe you do it like almost vlog style, just like day in the life, like legitimately like showcase you guys getting up,
a
and
straight up
breakfast,
vlog.
trying to find your way to the factory. Yeah, just like straight up like how your like it's the day is.
Yeah, maybe that'd be more raw, more China, more. Yeah, that we're just
some B-roll of like people on motorbikes with their 12 kids behind them. You'll see that. Like, just wait.
So it's gonna be my future. So vlog, I like that idea. My other idea was shorts, doing more short form.
Yeah, you can do that.
This is thermoforming in 30 seconds. This is peel ply in 30 seconds. Those kind of things, rather than just one long drawn out video of the whole thing. So more shorts. I do like the vlog.
Yeah, but you could do both.
You could do both.
Yeah, so you could do both. Those both would work.
Aaron just told me this morning. He's like, "Yeah, I'm not," because he was thinking the same thing. Like, why did this Selkirk video not do great? And we're just going to overshoot.
Yeah,
just do everything and then kind of decide what we want to do a little bit towards the end. But then Aaron's also doing a shoot 460 while he's there.
Oh, cool.
Which is kind of how we got him on the play.
Nice, smart, little bartering action.
Yeah, but yeah, that's exciting. That'll be really cool. And yes, I'm excited, but I also think I got a heads up of what it's all going to look like from the Selkirk tour, because I had never.
All that
they're
equipment.
thermoforming. They're making everything. I think what it's going to look like in China, just at a smaller scale. Selkirk, larger scale there in the factories. But regardless, it's going to be a super cool experience. Really excited about that. And then I don't think I'll ever catch up to you in your travel, though.
No, most people won't. I spent years in the Navy and then offshore oil, and I've traveled enough that, I could never travel again and probably be okay. I still like to travel.
All right, what's your go-to for a trip like this? Something I need to know. What do you got for me?
Beware, everywhere I've ever gone, this holds true. I'm talking Middle East, Asia. Beware of taxi drivers. If anybody's going to rip you off, it will be taxi drivers. Okay. So just be cognizant. Maybe do your research on like the rates.
The ride haul, the Diddy thing.
Yeah, you can do that too. I know that.
Or is that the same?
Well, no, they're not as bad.
Because it's through the app?
Yeah. So if you go, that's better. But like if you show up to like an airport, like Thailand, this happened to me. Somebody waved me down and I was like, "Oh, are you here for me?" I was supposed to be getting picked up by a certain person. They're like, "Oh, I'm here for you. I'll take you to your hotel. I'm here for you." I'm like, "Okay." And I got in and they're like, where do you want to go? I'm like, "Wait, you're supposed to know what hotel I'm going
You're here
to."
for me.
Yeah. And then, so they're taxi drivers in every country I've been are a little dicey.
Good to know.
So,
all right, I'll stick to Diddy and trains. Okay, that's good. And if anything else comes up throughout the day, just let me know.
Prepare your stomach for eating. Some people have a little gastric distress because the food is always very different in other countries.
Is that something you just accept, or you want to experiment with the food?
Absolutely.
Because you want to try something new, but you probably have to be careful with some of the vendors you choose.
Yeah, you'll it's hit or miss. Like I've had times where like I've never had any issues at all, and I've had times where it's like I'm in the bathroom the next day because my stomach was like, "What did you just eat?"
I have no idea what's going to happen to me because I've never.
It'll
probably be that because I'm so.
It could be because you're so white.
I'm so McDonald's and white.
Mayonnaise.
I'm mayonnaise over here. But yeah, that'll. I'm sure I'll be dealing with some.
You'll have fun. It's gonna be good.
That sounds super fun. You're very encouraging.
It's all an adventure.
Get up and walk so your legs don't die. Don't eat all the food or you'll die. Don't get in a taxi.
Don't drink the
water. Don't drink the water. All right. Okay. It's June 10th. The infamous June 10th day.
Yeah.
Blue Core's released today. It's Dying to Blue Core. I have a review for the Blue Cores if you want to go watch that. Franklin's, all the new shapes released today, and then the Armas released today. If you're going to go buy one of these paddles, go get Franklin. That was my favorite of the bunch.
Out of those, I would recommend the Franklin for sure.
I'm a big fan of the Franklins. Blue Cores, foam paddle. They're good control paddles. They feel really comfortable, very lightweight, kind of have some, niche aspects to it. But generally speaking, I think they're asking a lot for the price when there's a lot of cheaper quality paddles at $100 in that control space.
You are getting that lifetime warranty on the core if that's important to you.
That is a big deal.
I think as like a rec player, not somebody that's like super serious looking for a control paddle, that could be the draw to that.
Yeah, I agree. There's that, and then it does add a little extra layer of comfortability and impact. Like it feels a little less shocking, a little less jarring. And they're very lightweight. So there are those draws too. The thing for me with the lifetime element to it is in the control space, you don't have as much core crushing. You don't have as much like those issues because of that Gen 1, Gen 1.5 style. For the most part, like the best ones there at $100 are using that style. And those ones don't have the same issues that Gen 3, Gen 2 style paddles are having, where core crushing is much more prevalent and where the lifetime warranty is more appealing.
Yeah.
In the all court power categories where those issues are more prevalent. In the control category, not quite as much. And so it's a tougher sell to me with that UVP in that category.
That's a good question. So like the Yola Pro 4, very high power, not lifetime warranty, great paddle. Would it be worth it for them to charge more and offer the lifetime warranty? Because typically paddles that have a lifetime warranty, they do charge more because they're going to build in that replacement costs.
Right.
Do you think paddles will end up going to like lifetime warranty and like $400 for a paddle?
When everything's foam?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I hope not.
We'll see. I hope not either, but I could see it. That could be a play.
Yeah, Franklin's really solid. The Dynasty 14, they're elongated and they're hybrid are my two favorites, but the whole series is solid. I'm just shot my review for that. I sent that over to Aaron doing China, so it'll probably be a couple weeks, 2.5 weeks before we do that. So it's gonna be a little bit later, but I thought it was worth it. They're good. So yeah, June 10th, and then you have a couple things here.
Yeah, I sold my house, closed on my house. House is gone, and so that was a big weight off my shoulder. And I bought a car.
What'd you get?
I got a Tesla 2025 Tesla Model Y.
Whoa, this co-host stuff is paying well.
That was the first thing that Aaron messaged me. He's like, those payments are getting paid by a Pickleball effect, aren't they?
Oh, geez. All right.
It actually, I found it was used. It only had 4,000 miles on it because a guy bought it and decided he wanted to get the Rivian electric truck, turned it in. So it is like brand new. And it was $40,000 and I put 10 down. It wasn't too bad. But no, it's awesome. My kids think it's so cool. Like when it does the auto driving, they're like, "Dad, turn your car into a robot." And I'll like put it on auto drive and I'll like turn around and wave at them. And they think it's so funny.
That's great, dude. Well, good for you. Happy for you. And then, house selling, that probably helped.
Oh yeah. That was big.
Big weight off the shoulders, get some cash flow. That's great.
It was good.
And then what's this vest business?
Okay. So a lot of times when I share my stories, I'm out walking because that's when I post stories and I'm in a vest. I've been getting a lot of messages about what vest I'm using. So for everybody that is curious, it's a 511 plate carrier that I wear. And I am sad to admit this, but I've probably spent over $1,000 on different vests.
Oh, really? Just over the years?
Yes. Before I found one that I really liked. The 511 I like the best. But that being said, Grubb from Forward, he's actually making a vest. He's a vest wearer. So be on the lookout for his because his looks like it's going to be a pretty slim fitting vest. A lot of them are really bulky and not comfortable. So I thought it was pretty cool that
this is just weight.
Yeah, weighted vest.
That's all it is.
Yep.
So it makes your walk more challenging.
Yeah, you burn more calories. I originally bought it because I was big into CrossFit, and Murph, which you do on Memorial Day, is done in a vest. That was like the whole reason I had bought a vest, but now I just use it for walking.
Should I know what Murph is?
It's 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, mile run before the workout, mile run after the workout.
Could you go Murph it right now?
So yeah, I could. Not with a vest on. No way.
Murphing sounds very difficult.
Yeah, and it would take me a long time right now.
You don't have to do it sequentially. You can kind of break it up.
You can. So
10
like
push-ups here, 10 push-ups
there. There's a different, or you do like you'll partition. The easiest way to do it is you do like, 5 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, 15 squats, and then you just rotate through those. But
do you think I could Murph it?
Purists,
is it easier or is it more doable than maybe it sounds?
So initially? The pull-ups, and this is like controversial.
Pull-ups are tough.
Well, this is the controversial thing is like CrossFit, you kip.
Is that the wave thing?
That's exactly. So
is that the perfect impression?
So that was pretty good. But so some people that are purists, like 100 strict pull-ups is a lot of pull-ups.
That is a ton.
Yeah.
Pull-ups are so tough. Can you alternate? Is that
allowed? I don't think there's any rules with that. I
could do like 6-8 here, 6-8 here.
Because some ladies actually do mixed grip pull-ups.
Oh, really? I've never even tried that.
I feel super awkward. I can't do it, but I've seen ladies do it.
Sounds like
Anyway, we should do a workout. We should do that for content. Me and you should go work. We should go work out together one time. I think
Just
that'd be
you
funny.
making fun of how weak I am the whole time.
No, I'll just bench press you. I'll have you lay on me, and I'll just bench press you.
You'll make a Braydon compilation of my horrible lifting.
I wouldn't do that.
You could. It'd be okay. I wouldn't be mad at you. Well, happy for you, man. That's cool. May the Murphing continue as well. Okay, 3-0 to 5-0. Brought to you by Holy. So this is an advanced electrolyte system built for pickleball players. Their 3-part hydration program is designed to help you hydrate faster, recover quicker, and play longer. The flavors are legit, and there are quality ingredients that actually work. Use code PBEffect at checkout and hit the link in the description to support the show while you're at it.
Boom.
Boom.
And they're delicious.
Yeah, they're great. A lot of good things to say about Holy. Okay, 3-0 to 5-0. Today, we're going to talk about handling drives. So this is something that I have gotten so much better at in the last, I want to say, year and a half, ever since the Yolo 3S came out and the Gearbox Pro Powers. If I'm looking at weaknesses in my game, I still think handling drives is one of the weaker parts. Mm-hmm. But this has gotten a lot better for me over the last year or so as I've learned to manage and deal with drives and bangers better. Mm-hmm. Though it is still somewhere. That one doesn't come as naturally to me as others. I just don't manage it super well. But these are the 3 things that have helped tremendously of handling drives and handling bangers in general. So number 1 starts with the return. Deep returns with topspin, ditch the slice. If someone is really good at driving the ball and you give them a slice, they're going to be able to do a lot with it.
Extra topspin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so drive the ball. Even if it doesn't have topspin, but if it's just like a knuckler, like when you try and put topspin on it, it's going to be way more effective than a slice. And then just as deep as you can is big. The couple of reasons why deep matters. 1 is they're further away from you. When they drive the ball, you have more time to react. And 2, you have more time to get to the net to set yourself and get ready for it. But returns is paramount, is the number 1 tip, the number 1 thing that you can do, get better at to handle drives and bangers better, is just getting that solid return. I have a few thoughts that go through my head now as I play. One of them is deep returns, and one is get low, and the other is keeping your hands up. Those are kind of the 3 mental notes I take as I go. I used to do that in golf a lot too, where I have 1 or 2 swing thoughts, just something to kind of focus on and let your body do your thing. But those are the 3 things I will focus on every time I play. One of them being deep returns. 2 is split step right before they hit. So this is something I was a culprit of, still am sometimes, and see this very regularly when I'm watching all levels of play. Mm-hmm. And so when they'll hit a return, they're running into the net and they don't stop and split step before they drive the ball. Yep. If you are moving at all while the ball is driven at you, especially when it's somebody who's really good at it, it makes that block and keeping it down much more difficult. Mm-hmm. Even if you're a foot or 2 off the line, just stop right before they hit the ball, stop, split step, and get ready to handle that ball. So that's 2. 3 is just meet the ball early to get it out, to get it down. So you don't want to take the ball too close to your body. Keep your paddle out. That makes it easier to knock the ball down on the forehand and backhand side. So just meet the ball early, keep the paddle out. Those are the 3 tips. So deep returns with topspin, split step right before the hit. Even if you don't get to the net, if it's not a good return, you don't always have time to get to the net, just split step. 3, meet the ball early and out in front to get it down. And then my bonus tip here, this is a little more of an advanced play, but if you can, I like to return the ball to the left foot of the right side player. So this is their backhand usually if it's a right-hander. The big driver will typically, even if they're both really good drivers, they're usually going to default that to the person with the forehand. Yep. So the person with the forehand is going to step over the middle line to drive that at you. And then that opens up the entire right side of the court. So you can just block it over there and it gives you more margin of error. Even if you pop it up a little bit, it keeps it away from the drive and crash. And then the person that drove the ball has to run to it typically and then do something with their backhand, which makes it more difficult to follow up with another drive. Yeah. So if you're able to return the ball to the backhand side of the, I guess if you're facing your opponent, it's going to be your opponent on the left.
Left, yeah.
And then have the left sider scooch over, open up that court. That's going to take that follow-up drive away and makes your block a little bit easier if you can
like
do that.
that
But
one.
it is trickier to hit that location
Yeah.
and then block it to where you want. But those are that's kind of a bonus tip if you're capable of doing that. That's my tip for the day. Anything to add on top of that?
The split step one's a big one. I try to be very cognizant of that. And because I'm not the fastest to the net, I will actually
Used to not be the fastest.
I mean, I got the 10% speed boost now, but I got very comfortable on my approach to the kitchen, split stepping and taking that drive. And then even if I don't get all the way, sometimes I'll take 2 before I get there. Just because you are so much more inconsistent if you're hitting blocks on the move. So I think that's a huge one. Deep returns, that's a big one. And then that last one, I actually hadn't thought about aiming for their foot, but I actually like that because that puts it enough that way that it could also create confusion. Because I do aim for like the backhand, but the backhand is a little more inside. That's easier for that guy.
Backhand, foot, it's same.
But I like the foot though because that puts it in a spot where the guy actually has to come over about a step further than where I normally aim. So you're right; it opens up a little more court. So I'm gonna try that this week. I like that.
Well, it's cool. There you go. That's your tip for dealing with bangers and drives. And another thing I've done that helped tremendously is I took a ball machine and just shot balls at me 100 miles an hour.
The Ernie, those things fly out of that thing.
And just like stood there. It's scary, but you just sit there and block a bunch down and then drives in a match.
It's wild how fast that machine can shoot balls.
It is crazy. All right, let's go to Kyle's Corner. Brought to you by Slice. This is their new one. Do you have the new one?
I do have the new one. This is like the coolest product ever.
Yeah, show that off.
So this is their new adjustable. And the way they did it, because I don't know, a long time ago they had sent us their first, and you had to put the weight inside, which we didn't like because obviously you would have to fully remove your cap from your paddle to change your internal weighting. So what they did is they basically created their speed coins that are threaded, and it uses an Allen head, and you can remove and add weight from the outside.
So you attach the cap once, and then you can play with different weights to see what you like the most.
And they come in 5 gram, 10 gram, 15 gram coins. And then it's honestly, it's genius. This is exactly what I wanted when we first got their first attempt. So
yeah, this is fantastic. They're available for sale now. You can use the code PBFET to get a discount from them. But yeah, if you haven't heard of Slice, it's a weighted end cap that we both use and recommend all the time. It enhances your paddle's balance. It boosts power. It expands the sweet spot. There's so many benefits to it. Plus, they're 100% made in the U.S. But yeah, go check out the link in the description and use the code PBFET to pick one of those up.
And I would do the adjustable. If you've never done if you don't know what weight you want, I would get an adjustable first.
100%.
So, all right, Kyle's Corner. I kept it short because I had a lot of stuff going on this week. So the UPA paddle testing machine was stolen from Austin.
Okay, yeah, tell me the full story here. That's the only bit I've heard. I don't know any other details.
Oh, well, no, it's just, so I guess it was just missing. But the best part about it is they were, the internet is like, because it was roughly around the time you guys were all in Austin.
Oh, really?
So they were like,
reviewers.
well, they're like, which reviewer took it home? And they're like, Q's got it in his basement. And
all of a sudden, there's a new deflection rating.
And his injury is like made up. So he's like hiding in his basement with this like UPA paddle testing. And I haven't seen if they found it or not, but I think it's a very expensive machine.
Yeah, they are not cheap.
And this is the one they bring.
The deflection one. This is the one they do.
Yeah, this is the one they actually bring on site.
This is the on-site.
Yeah.
I would imagine it's several $1,000s.
Yeah. I would assume probably tens of thousands of dollars.
Maybe,
probably.
I have no idea.
But I just thought it was hilarious that they were like, weren't the reviewers just in Austin? And somebody made a comment about Q having it in the basement next to his Canon. I was dying.
That was really funny.
Oh, it was good.
And I would love to have something like that.
I know. Well, hopefully, I mean, I am hoping that eventually like this kind of equipment becomes like not mass produced, but produced enough that like some of like the reviewers can actually get a hold of them.
There's a company in Florida that I met with, or not Florida, when I went to Maryland to the USAP tour thing.
Yeah.
There was a brand there, I believe it was called Q Brand. I haven't talked to them since then. I need to, but they were developing a more affordable on-site thing like that where clubs could buy.
Exactly. And reviewers
could buy. It's relatively cheaper, obviously still expensive for just a person who's going to use it for their own paddle. Like no one would do that. But for people like clubs or reviewers, it was definitely reasonable. And I need to follow up with them because that would be really cool to have.
That's honestly the first company that makes a solution cheap enough and accurate enough that you can put that in clubs for paddle compliance. Huge. Like they're going to kill it. Especially like they get it patent somehow and like they get it in the clubs, they'll crush it. Yeah,
the Pickle Pro Labs guys they were telling me about a machine they were developing for that same purpose.
Okay.
They call it their go, no-go machine. They haven't launched it yet.
It's just a race. Oh, I remember when we talked about that.
But it's the same idea where it's a club can buy it. They were going to do like a leasing option. You pay a few hundred a month or whatever, and then you just keep it on site. And then it's just green light, red light if it passes or fails.
Okay.
And
like no data at all? Like it just, I guess that makes it simpler for them.
Maybe it gives you data too. I don't know the details. I just know the general idea of it was the red light, green light system so that local events, tournaments, which is where the issues of core crush and delamination are the most prevalent.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And that would be amazing for clubs.
It would be fun to just watch how many people at local tournaments have failing paddles.
Probably more than they would realize.
There'd be a lot of tears.
And clubs would probably sell a bunch more.
Oh, no, exactly. They're like, oh, that's core crush. I got one right here in the pro shop. And your tournament, by the way, your bracket starts in 10 minutes.
Yes. This nice Selkirk foam paddle will last you forever. It's $400. You sell your foam then.
Oh, that's good. That's good. All right. Next topic, hot topic. I don't know if you've been paying attention to this. It's on Reddit. So there's one guy on Reddit that is saying, basically seeing events like what took place with the Bread and Butter Nerdy tourney, the Yola, etc., that they are getting vibes that this is similar to big pharma whining and dining doctors to push their drugs. And it's interesting. A few of the reviewers have already actually chimed in on Reddit with like their opinions on it. But I want your take on it before I tell you mine. Do you think these events are influencing what paddles are being reviewed and pushed?
I do think it's going to influence what paddles I review. For example, the Adidas ones, we did the Adidas event. I probably would not have talked about those, but we did talk about them. In that case, I think there was more negative press than positive press. So I don't think an event guarantees the takes of the opinions, though I'm sure I imagine this person was saying there's probably some subconscious stuff going on. Maybe you're giving preference to brand. And, maybe a little bit of that happening. I think you'd be foolish to say, oh, no, I'm totally immune to that.
Yeah.
Of course, I am very conscious of that.
Yes.
And want to avoid that as much as possible. I've built my program, my whole business
on trust.
On trust.
No,
100%. And so I'm not going to just give that up for a few $100 that you.
No, I know. And I was going to say, I've been witness to a brand offering you money and you turning it down.
Yeah. I mean, it just doesn't work that way. Right. And that's not how I want it to operate.
Yeah.
And so I think just being aware that is a possibility can help you fight it, and knowing that, some of that stuff. But as far as what paddles I review, I think it's going to influence what paddles I choose to review. Sure. But most of these events are brands that people are interested in anyway, and probably stuff I would review anyways.
That was the point I was going to get at.
Like the Yola, I'm going to review those no matter what. Yeah. And that the Yola case, I learned a lot about them visiting them. Selkirk, I learned a ton about them. I just wouldn't have gotten through emails and other ways. When you have that in-person conversation, you can just go so much more in depth. More stuff comes up, and so I think there's a lot of value in these in some of these events and taking that relationship to the next level, learning more than I could otherwise. I think it's probably healthy for my perspective and understanding the market, understanding these people, and giving people information that's relevant and that they need to know before they make a purchase. At least for me, I'm obviously very, very conscious of keeping it clean, doing it right, and not letting that influence it. But like for the Yolas, I would have given that a positive review anyways.
Oh yeah.
And
no, they were smart. They did it and had a good product. I think they knew that going into that.
It's probably kind of this rock and a hard place, right? Like you go to this event, they say you're bought, And then if you don't go to the event, maybe you're missing information.
Yeah.
And then they're like, what the heck?
Well, no. Then like also the fact that like if you're the content creator that gets left out, why were you the one that's left out? Like, are you not like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. No, I mean, I can understand the argument some, but just being aware that is a possibility,
Yeah.
I think does a lot of to fight and combat that. But yeah, you know, I don't think it's a big deal going to events. What do you think?
all right. So every industry has influencers. Yes, there is money exchanged in industries for people to give reviews and stuff. I think most of the major platforms that reviews paddles in pickleball have established their brand based on trust. If you don't trust the reviewer, you're not going to do well. And I think it's actually very visible in our space who is getting, some kind of kickback. Cause like there has been times where like certain, I'm not going to name names, but there's like certain venues.
Names. Just kidding.
No, yeah, I don't need to. People will be able to figure it out. But Adidas is perfect. Like Adidas, the paddles weren't that great. It was like they're going in a good direction though. Like they definitely have made improvement, but they didn't really get a bunch of glowing reviews, even though they flew people out to Austin. Like very few people gave them glowing reviews. I think the events, some of them are important because we do learn more about the brands and you get deeper than just that surface level. And some of that does affect your purchases, I think. And some of that is interesting to consumers. Like if you go out there and the brand is legitimately like, you can tell that all they care about is shelling out a product for as much as possible with as little thought into the product as possible. Like people want to know that. And you'll be able to know you'll be able to get a feel whether they're genuine or not from these events. And so I can see both sides of it too, though. Cause I do see like the events are picking up. Like this is a relatively new thing and it's happening a lot very quickly. Like it started, I'm trying to remember the first event you guys went to.
The very first
I guess
one
it would have
was
been
Yola
Thrive would have been the first one, really.
I guess Thrive, yeah.
But since then it's picked up.
I never would have reviewed Thrive if we didn't do that trip.
So yeah, I do think it does have an influence, but I also do think that the brands that are doing this are brands that are very forefront and people want to know about anyway, like you said. Like Yola could not do an event. People still want to know about the Yolas. So I do think that, I mean, again, subconsciously, I do think it impacts what paddles get talked about. And I do think it is going to make it harder for very, very small brands to break in just because there's so many paddles coming out. But again, I think, like you said, you just have to be really cognizant of what you choose to go to.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like there's zero effect.
Yeah.
Right? There's going to be some of that, whether I like it or not, probably. So, but for the most part, I think it's more pros than cons for these things, but I'm also going to be very picky with events.
Yeah. I don't want to go to one every.
This last 4 months has been too much. I do not want to do that ever again. This China one is the last one that I'll be doing in a minute. But yeah, gonna be very selective of this stuff. And if other people want to go out, like power to them. But for the most part, they always say, oh yeah, we'll pay for your flight and things. But you buy a rental.
Oh yeah,
you gotta buy an extra room. Yeah, it still costs money.
Absolutely. And time away from your family.
Time is a big factor. Yeah. Like it's usually 2 days of travel.
That was a great point that Chris actually pointed out. He's like, you guys, like what you guys see is all play. There's a lot of work that goes into it. Yeah. I was gonna say, like, no, you guys see like the clipped videos and us all laughing. You don't see like the nerds on their computer, editing and stuff the whole time, and like the actual work, like the interviews and stuff at Yola. Like, there's work attached to it.
It feels very worky.
Yeah,
100%.
No, and point being, we're always exhausted. Like when we come back, we're like, that was
it is exhausting that way. And I've voiced this many times. I hate traveling and I hate flying.
Have fun flying to China.
And I am not excited for this trip, this flight to China. All right, Paddle, Babble, and Gear brought to you by ADV. Boom, boom, boom.
Bam.
So ADV, they're the makers of high quality pickleball bags and accessories. I use this pickleball backpack V2 personally. I love it and always recommend it to players who want something durable, organized, and built specifically for pickleball. If you're ready to upgrade your gear, check out the link in the description. Use the code PBEffect to save. There's so many features and good things about it. It's easiest just to go click on the link, check it out. Father's Day is here. If you want to buy yourself a gift.
Yeah. Is that next
I do
Sunday?
all my own
Next Sunday?
Father's Day shopping.
Shopping?
Do you do any of that?
Well, I got nobody to buy me Father's Day gifts anymore. I'm alone. I can buy my own now.
Coop and Millie.
Yeah, that's true.
They'll take care of
They'll
you.
They'll buy me new Switch games for themselves.
Yes. Oh, they're so great. Coop's out there playing on his, he calls it his Switchy.
His Switchy. He's out there playing Mario on his Switchy.
All right. First item of business is the new main. Okay. I've been playing the Carbon True Foam Genesis 2 since January.
Yeah.
What month are we in now? What's
June.
Is that 6? Number 6?
Yeah. No,
5. January,
5.
February, March, April, May, June. It is 6.
Oh.
Ha.
Yeah.
But it's early.
It's
early.
It's still early in the month.
Yeah. Anyways, been playing the paddle for 6 months as my main, but switching to
Never would have guessed.
the Franklin C45 hybrid.
I'm actually surprised. I thought you were going to go elongated.
I was tempted to do the elongated. I really like the 14. It's the most fun I've had with the elongated and the best I've played with the elongated in it probably since the 11.624 Hirachi X Power. That one is also a really good elongated paddle. But yes, reasoning for switching to this is I wanted to try a hybrid. It's been a minute. I've been using white bodies for a while. I wanted to go to a hybrid, see how that works out. And I was missing some of the lightness, the maneuverability, the quickness of the paddle tech that I had before the Carbon.
Mm-hmm.
The paddle tech, one of the reasons I loved it was just so fast, so poppy, just so deadly at the net. Going to the Carbon, it's out of the box, it's like 112, but it needs a little weight to carry through the ball better from the baseline. So you add the weight on there, then you throw in a slice cap, and it ends up 115, 116 swing weight, and it just feels a little bit sluggish.
Mm-hmm.
It's not horrible, but it does feel a little bit sluggish still. This, playing with it, kind of brought back some of that maneuverability that I wish the 2 had a little bit.
Got it.
And so this weighted up is still only 114.
Yeah.
And you get the little extra reach with the hybrid. And I just absolutely love the feel of this. This is my favorite Gen 3 I've played so far. Gen 3s, you love the power pop dwell combo, right? But so many of them have that stiffer, hollower feel that I don't mind because I'm so used to it now, but I don't seek out and I don't just like, oh yes, this feels so good to me. I've always been drawn to I guess kind of softer, more plush feeling paddles, which was part of the reason I love the True Foams. Yeah. And still love and endorse them. But so this just has a more plush. It's not True Foam plush.
No.
It's kind of this medium plush, but it's still crisp. And something about it just feels right. It feels good.
I like the impact feel off the Franklin.
Yeah.
They did a good job.
Yeah, it's very satisfying. I feel very connected to it. I was able to find my drops, my mid-court stuff with this much easier and much more quickly than the typical Gen 3 style paddle. And then it falls into that kind of lower, depending on how you weight it up. This is another thing I love about it is you can customize it to get so many different paddle profiles. The way I have it weighted up here, I have 3 grams or 3 inches of 1 inch per gram tape on the bottom, just above the bottom corners. Then I have 2.5 inches of 0.5 gram on the top corners. So this puts it in kind of that lower power category, which is right where I like being. Kind of aggressive all court, lower power is the sweet spot for me because I gives me a little help offensively, but isn't so much where I can't do what makes me good, which is more of that kind of finessey, angly stuff.
Yeah.
And so digging it, love it. You can go get this right now. Use code PBEffect. Find the setup that works for you. But it's definitely a player's paddle. It's a tinkerer's paddle. Yeah. This is not something that's going to play great out of the box.
No, that's be noted. Do not take how it plays stock.
Yeah.
As the way it's going to play.
And it's this one's a 14 millimeter. I've always personally preferred thinner over thicker cores just because the lower launch angle suits my swing and how I play better. And for a 14 Gen 3 in particular, this is just light years better feel than all the others. So
good.
The armors are very firm and stiff. The Gen 3, the YOLO Pro 4s, 14s are very firm.
Mm-hmm.
This does not feel like those. No. It feels like the 16
in
this version.
Yeah, I was going to say, like when we did our test, like I said, like the 14 and 16 feel is so close that there's no reason not to get the 14 if you want to.
So digging this will be the main for a bit. This is the weight setup I like on the head. I'm messing with some weight on the bottom. So this is actually like a cool custom slice speed coin that they sent me. He just threw down it. But I have 10 grams on there right now. Playing with some different weights down there. I might drop that down to like a 6 gram or something like that. I haven't played it with the slice with the speed coin on it yet. I've only been played it with the weight in the head. Mm-hmm. So still kind of figuring out the final configuration, but I like this head weight setup, and then I'm going to tinker with some of the handle weighting. But that's the paddle I've been digging, and we'll be using here for a minute. But there are a lot of good paddles in the pipeline right now. Some interesting foam ones that we've talked about, and anyways, there's lots of good stuff coming out. So this may not last 6 months like the Carbon did, but maybe it will. I don't know. Main paddle for you. I feel like you're due for a switch.
What do you think I've been playing with? If you had a guess.
If I had a guess, I mean, you were doing the Shogun for bread and butter, tournament prepping for that. That's over. You're probably playing something different now. Franklin?
So Franklin and the Wild Thing.
Oh, the Wild Thing.
Which is weird because it's 3K carbon. It's got the fiberglass layer. It feels good. Like I love it. And I just like the look of it too. So.
Okay, there you go.
But yeah, I'm between that and the Franklin.
Yeah, I mean,
my two main go-tos.
You loved the Shogun for so long. It's right in line with that.
With some more oomph.
A little more oomph. The 3K carbon, I think the intention of that was to almost act like PET, where it gives you a little softer. Kind of combats that fiberglass stiffness, and it sounds like it did that.
It does. It's good. It's good.
Nice. But yeah, final numbers on that new Franklin is, with all that weight, excluding the cap weighting, its static weight is 8.1, swing weight 114, and twist weight of 6.6 is where I have that. Okay, let's talk about the power and pop experiment I did
with the filth.
With the filth standard. So what I did is I hit it stock, took power and pop measurements, and then I put 4 grams of weight just above the bottom corner.
Okay.
Did power and pop measurements, and then I split the weight and did the 2 corners. Then did power and pop again. So we have 3 different measurements here. So with just talking power, the no weight, it was 57th percentile at 55.7 miles per hour. Bottom corners, excuse me, it bumped it up to 56 miles per hour on average. Power percentile of 75%, so 57 to 75, about a 15-ish percent jump there.
Good.
Yeah, pretty good. And then when I did it to the corners, my average was 56.1, so just a tiny bump.
Yeah.
Probably could just call that a wash, but then the power percentile was 79%. So we did see an initial bump, but then adding the weight higher, which increases the swing weight. This will probably increase the swing weight by 2-3 points over what this was.
Mm-hmm.
And that didn't give it more power.
So kind of diminishing returns.
And this paddle is heavier out of the box. So stock, it's 8.3 ounces. With this weight, it's 8.6. And so the Franklins just got huge jumps every time you added weight or increased the swing weight, where that wasn't exactly the case here. And part of it is, one, because I think the static weight is higher to begin with, and then 2,
construction, probably
a little bit of the construction. Yeah. I wish I had time to maybe even add even more weight, maybe say like 6 grams or something.
See, that still tracks with kind of how I feel about the Gen 3 with the foam, that the power is more exponential with the weight.
Yeah,
because you got
it definitely seems to respond better with adding weight to the Gen 3, at least with the Franklin. And it's tough. I should go do a heavier Gen 3 next.
Yeah, you should. You should do the same construction of paddles just to see if that tracks more. Mm-hmm. That'd actually be a cool experiment. Like, do 3 paddles that are foam, or at least have or the launch. What do we call it? Launch board, diving board. The diving board. So we do 3 like with the diving board and see, and then 3 just straight up Gen 2s and see if they all correlate basically.
Yeah, that would be a long day.
It would be a long day.
But that would be sick. That would probably be
the people want it.
the best test. And then pop-wise, it went from 35 miles per hour to 35.3 to 35.8. So you actually got a good jump here. So we went from 16% to 24%, so a little smaller one, and then 24% to 46% when we split the weight. So increasing the swing weight actually made it poppier. And then, anyways, that was the numbers there. It didn't, you definitely saw an increase, obviously, with both, though it wasn't quite as dramatic as the Franklin, though still a little bit more than I anticipated, at least percentile wise. Another thing I noticed with this round, I didn't pay attention to or go look at the other one for, was just the consistency of the numbers. So no weight, there was a larger variance of highs and lows. Mm-hmm. The second I added weight, the numbers tightened up and it was much more consistent. And that's got to be a sweet spot thing. Yeah. And so that was another observation I made here, was just how much more consistent my numbers were for both pop and power with weight. And so that is really appealing to just general gameplay. If you're getting more consistent power off of everything, that's going to dramatically improve your feel and connection to the paddle.
So bottom line, you need weight.
Yeah, I think weight up every paddle to some degree. Yeah. And it's, I'll usually say weight it up as much as you can handle almost, and make that like your ceiling. Because you're obviously going to have more weight than me. Yeah. You can manage it better than I can.
I usually go 9.5, 9.7-ish and call it good.
Before slice cap, what do you get it up to?
About 8, because that adds it. Yeah, no. Usually right around 8.5, 8.6, because I use the 1 ounce slice cap. And then if it...
So I'll go about around 8.3-ish, 8.3 ounces before any end cap weighting.
But then sometimes I put that cap on and then I have to put a little more weight, because again, that changes the balance point. Yeah. And again, tinker. You got to tinker with what feels good. It.
But yeah, just adding weight in general is going to make your paddle more offensive. One of the things I love about the slice caps and speed coins is that just having weight on the paddle is going to give you the mass you need to put more power on the ball, but it doesn't slow it down at the net, right? Which is a big deal. And so you're able to add weight without affecting the swing weight and get some of those benefits of the weight that way. If you don't want to, like, I got the swing weight to 114 on this, on the Franklin. I was like, okay, this is where I want to be. Now I'm going to tinker with the handle weighting to get just that right level of power and feel and balance that I want. So that's what I'll usually do, is I'll start with the head, get that into this place I want, and then I'll tinker with the handle weighting. Okay, that's it for paddle, babble, and gear. Let's go to paddle fitting of the week. So here's the question. This person said, I'm actually looking at the Bread and Butter Invader as my next paddle. I've been using the Rhombus R1 Pulsar for a while now and like the power that it generates, but I'm not a fan of the pop since it takes away from my control game. Would you say the Invader is more or less popular than the R1 Pulsar? Is it better in the control/soft game? So if you're not familiar with the Rhombus Pulsar series, it's your kind of general R or Gen 2 thermo.
Gen 2 thermo, yeah. There was nothing super special about that. That was just a good value Gen 2.
Right. It was good. And they were early in the Gen 2. And so that one got popular when it came out, and it's still a good value. But yeah, it's kind of your typical standard Gen 2 style paddle. If that one's too poppy for you, the Bread and Butter Invader is not going to be any less poppy. It's the same Gen 2 construction and has a fiberglass layer.
Yep.
Because the fiberglass layer is buried, it's you'll get more power, but it may be a touch more pop, but probably pretty equal.
Yeah, the real difference with the Invader, I would say, is because of that PET is like at the net when you're dinking and stuff, that is going to feel like you have more control because you're going to have that softer impact feel. But once you get into that fiberglass, it's still got it's got some oomph.
Yeah, I don't think the Invader is going to give them what they're looking for.
I don't think so.
So my first thought was the Core Shapeshifter EX.
It's a good one.
This one is another Gen 2 buried fiberglass, but for whatever reason, it's just not as poppy as a normal Gen 2 paddle. I call it an aggressive control paddle. It's not as poppy as the Pulsar. It's not as poppy as the Invader, but it does have a little bit more power than your typical control paddle like a Prism or even the Diamond Blue Cores or something like that. But it's not quite as poppy as your standard kind of Gen 2 style paddle. So that was my rec, the Chorus Shapeshifter EX. Any others come to mind for you?
Oh man, that's a tough one for me. They're obviously a little bit price conscious, rocking the Rhombus R1. I might go like 11.624 all court.
Yeah, that could be another good one because that one's not fully thermoformed.
Yeah.
It's kind of the Gen 1.5, which is going to soften it up just a little bit compared to
And
a Gen 2.
I feel like they're not sacrificing power or anything really.
Yeah, the thing I like about that rec and this Shapeshifter is you still get some of that power that they like from the Pulsar, but then just tones down the pop just a little bit. I guess another one could be the Sagas.
No, that'd be a good one.
From Vatic Pro. So between those three, I think one of those would fit the bill. But the EX on the Shapeshifter is lighter weight. I guess the R1 Pulsar isn't a particularly light paddle. It's 120 something. So maybe the Saga would feel the most natural there because it's a similar swing weight and then has that lower pop, similar power profile that they are looking for. But there you go. That's the paddle fitting of the week. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We're going to miss next week.
Oh yeah.
Because I will be traveling.
Because you're a world traveler.
I'm a world traveler and will be culturing myself.
And he's not cool like me who does podcasts from Japan.
No, I'm not as cool as you. But yeah, so we're going to miss next week. But then one after that will be a fun one.
Yeah, you have a lot. China. Yeah, that'd be great.
Cool. Thanks, everybody.
Have a great week.